Hi guys, and welcome to part 3 of the repair on the HK416D. Today we're going to strip the gearbox and the whole mechanism down and try and remove the offending switch and see if we can get this gun to work again. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is a few little things. We're going to need some masking tape, going to need some scissors, a permanent marker, some pliers, and a couple of screwdrivers. That's just a flat screwdriver, and that is a Phillips screwdriver. It's quite a large screwdriver, and I'll show you what that's for a little bit later. Okay, just here's my jeweler's or little screwdriver set that you get from a local hardware store or something along those lines. So when you're doing this type of work and trying to do something like this, the big thing to remember is to mark everything as you pull it to bits. The last thing in the world that you want to do is when you go to put it back together after pulling it to bits is look at it and there's cogs and springs and everything and you just not going to happen. So make it easy on yourself and follow the procedure and it'll work. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take the gun out of the casing here. Rightio. As you can see, there's lots of wires attached to lots of different things. This is for the magazine feed, and this is the main power that comes through for the battery connects into this part here to power the whole thing. This is the switch that's burnt out, I believe. So what we're going to do is we're going to just gently pull these out of their little slides. So that's the first one out. So, bit of masking tape. Cut it like this. And because we took that one out, we're going to name them. So, black is always negative. Black is always negative, red is always positive. So, a little negative sign there for negative, positive for there. The same thing over here. Just going to put it down. This is the main battery feed that comes into the gun. So, a little negative here and a positive here. Okay, so we'll slip out the positive wire. Now you can see there's still two wires attached here, and they are to the motor of the gun. We can leave these attached. What we'll do is we'll take out a nice small Phillips screwdriver. And what we're going to do is we're going to undo the motor and take them off. Okay. Now these are quite long screws, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a little note to ourselves and put LS there, and a wee arrow and a wee arrow for long screws. And just put those over there, LS. Okay. Now the motor just gently pops off like that. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got. Rightio. The next thing we're going to do here is we want to take the barrel out, get rid of that, undo the screw here. No, that's not enough. Maybe this one too. Okay, so I see that's going to have to be split before it will allow us to remove that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way around all of these screws and undo these. I'm just going to not completely loosen the bit at the back at this stage. Just going to get the screwdriver here and just gently give this a little bit of prise apart here. Okay, so if you look at the back of the gun, there's quite a large Phillips head. Now it's slotted here, that retains it. Now for us to be able to take the plunger and the spring system out, we need to twist this so that those little tags line up with that to allow it to come out. Now they won't just allow you to do it because it's locked in position. What you have to do is you have to loosen this off a little bit, like this, so that when you actually do twist it, it allows the plastic casing to separate. If you can look in there, you can see how that's just starting to split apart, and so you just gently turn it around and it releases. Okay. Rightio. So that's a little retainer, then your spring. So I'm just going to put this here in the order that they came out. Okay. So now looking at the gun body again, we have undone all our screws. We're just going to gently go around to make sure that they're all loose now, and we're just going to put these ones in this pile here because they are the same. Okay, so we will need to undo this little piece here and remove this to allow the body to detach from the barrel by the look of it. It just slips out underneath there like that. And there we have the top of the casing. Pick up your wee screws, put them safely into your container, and that's it there. Okay, so I'll sit that there. Now if we can have a look at this here, we can see all of the mechanism. Now, quite an interesting sort of a setup. We have a plunger here. We're going to remove the barrel now. That's the seal between the barrel and the plunger. So we're just going to put that there. We're going to remove the plunger. Now the plunger is held on by this little spring, and that little spring goes around that piece of plastic. Okay. So sit that there like that. Interestingly enough, if you actually look at it, all the gel gun is a plunger with a rubber piece on it, and what that does is it pushes that tiny little bit of air, just enough to push the wee gel ball out. That's all it is. It's not like an air rifle with a massive big long thing. It doesn't have that power. It's just a tiny wee thing like that. Okay, so we'll set that to the side. Now we have the cogs, and it's important to remember here that we want to try and keep these together. So if we have a mistake, we knock it over and everything goes everywhere, it'd be really good to have it named. So cog 1, and I'll just put a little 1 down here as well so we can see it. Cog 2, cog 2. And this one here will be cog 3. A bit tricky to write on that, so I'll put 3 lines. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what we're going to do now, if you're in doubt, take a photo. I mean, I'm going to have the video obviously to be able to refer back to when I'm putting it back together, so I'm not going to photograph it, but just get your phone, take a shot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just gently lift the trigger out. And what we might do here is just put two little lines, two wee lines like that, and just on here we'll just put two little lines as well. Two, pretty simple. Okay. Now, remembering how this goes, this little spring attaches to that, and that goes that way. So why don't we just do a little 0 here, and a little 0 here, so that we know where that goes. Now, get my little flat jeweler's screwdriver here. The whole principle of the gun is that this has a little spring on it. When the switch goes forward, the trigger pushes the switch forward, it connects the circuit and it fires. This has a spring on it to push it back, so when you take your finger off the trigger, it pushes it back. So that's quite simple where that one goes. So realistically now, all we really have to try and do now is sort out this wiring system that's here. So what I might do is I might just pop the casing back on the top, and this applies when you go to put the gun back together again. See how they're not completely lined up? So what you do is you get your small jeweler's flathead and you just look down into the bearing there and just gently move those over and to get them into the right place so that the casing will shut. See, he's in position, he's in position, he's in position. So that casing can now be shut. And that will retain all of your cogs. So what we're going to do is we are going to put a new switch in here. So what we need to do is to make sure that we copy, when we solder the wires together, exactly the way that they've been soldered is the way that they have to be resoldered. So, I'm going to get a bit of masking tape here. And we are going to put this around here. And we're going to write A. And we're going to put A here. B for B is the other two wires. So I'll put a B. A at the front, B at the back. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut these wires. See, Daisy, my tape didn't stick, so I'll just redo that. There we go. Okay, so there it is there, A and B. We're going to put a little A just on that bit of glue that I can see, just to help us remember, so there's no confusion. We turn back the casing, we gently separate the casing and its little cogs. Over there. Now we're just going to prise the switch out. Of its little plastic casing here. They can be quite firm, so just be patient. Don't lose your rag, so to speak. Just pull that out like that. And there's the tiny little switch that's giving us all the grief. So, what we're going to do now is I'm going to pop down to my local electronics store and I'm going to find a switch that will handle the 7.4 volts or more, that's the same size, and we will pop this in and we will solder it up, assemble the gearbox and hope that everything's going to work. It should do. We'll see how we go. Thanks for watching.